What's up, everyone? So today we're going to be talking about Homefront for the Xbox 360 and PS3. So Homefront is a futuristic first-person shooter. All right, takes place in 2027. The United States economy is basically on the near collapse, and there is civil unrest going throughout the towns, and there's a lot of crazy and just basically it's just a lot of crazy people just running around and just killing random civilians, and it's basically a corrupted environment. All right, so what basically happens is that the current leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-il, actually dies in 2012, and basically his son takes over. Kim Jong-un takes over and unites North and South Korea, forming the Unified Korean Republic. All right, and they wait a little while. They start doing weapons development and start really building a strong military. And they go to these different countries, such as like Japan and just about every other country, and start basically wars with them, and then they take it over and annex their country. So basically they take over countries, and they're really pushing for Korea to be a world power in a sense. All right, so what goes on is that they launch this new satellite claiming that it will bring peace to the world, right? And it blows up and launches an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, that is, throughout the whole United States, shutting off every single power line, and anything electronical shuts it out. So the U.S. goes dark, all right? So the Koreans go in there, they take control, and basically take control of the whole west coast of the United States. All right, and that counts for Hawaii, San Francisco, everywhere. It's all occupied by the Korean military. So basically, your character is Jacobs, and he is basically an ex-pilot. He knows how to pilot helicopters and stuff. He wakes up in this corrupted environment, and basically immediately gets a knock on the door, and the Koreans basically come in and take him hostage, right? Drag him down, and he gets captured and put into prison camps. So you're put into this bus, you're being taken somewhere that you have no idea, where you're going. You see families getting killed, slaughtered, people just, begging for mercy, and the Koreans just, killing everyone. It turns out to be a very graphic scene right in the beginning of the game, and by doing that, the developers actually capture the real emotion that they're trying to get out of this game, basically saying, what if this really happened? All right, so you're on your way to wherever you're going, you don't know, and all of a sudden you guys are ambushed, and you get saved by the resistance. Think of this story as think of it as the Terminators versus the Resistance, stuff like that. Like, you have Terminators, let's say the Koreans, and then the Resistance, which is basically the people who are fighting for free will and stuff like that. So there is no United States military. Everything is all scattered. Basically, the U.S. is at its weakest point in time. It's just begging to get taken over. All right, so as far as you stand, you basically get rescued by the Resistance. they basically bring you in and they say, all right, we need a helicopter pilot, and that's you, all right, and basically hand you a gun and say, all right, we fight for a purpose. Now, you're new to the team, and they basically introduce you around. You stay in this urban environment, but the Koreans aren't really sure where you are, and the resistance is filled up of just regular civilians, everyday civilians like your neighbors, or you're just regular, working class, and they go out there and they just, pick up a gun and shoot and fight for their country. That's what the resistance is. So that's pretty interesting and pretty cool. You start doing a couple of different missions for them. Most of the gameplay is trying to sneak around. You will engage in big firefights, but for the most time, you guys are building up this strategy that's going to be, that's going to give you an advantage towards fighting with the Koreans and stuff like that. So that's that. As far as the graphics goes, the game looks okay. It's nothing spectacular. It's nothing out of the ordinary. The graphics are okay. All right. It doesn't really do anything. To be honest, this game looks like a 2008-2009 game. The graphics are a little outdated. They could have been a bit better. I mean, you'll see visible loading. You'll see like textures and stuff like that loading as you're walking past it. Sometimes you walk straight up to a certain object and it'll look like crap, and then all of a sudden it'll render. It's sort of that. It's a very slow loading graphical game. All right. Some parts look okay. All right. Some parts look pretty decent. Like viewing things from a distance, they actually look pretty good and stuff like that. But the true quality that they put into like the objects and everything like that isn't really that worth it. The guns look generic. They are generic guns, by the way. This isn't really a science fiction game at all. This is more near future stuff. So you're not going to pick up this laser rifle and say, "Oh, look, it's from the future," and start shooting it at people. All right, you're going to pick up your regular M16 assault rifle, and it's just basically going to be Modern Warfare. In fact, the whole game feels like Modern Warfare. All right, and you have a couple technology in there, which I'll talk about in the gameplay section. All right, but the graphics are okay. They're not excellent. They're just okay. All right, they're not bad, but they're just standard graphics that you'll find in any low-budget title. All right, so that's that. All right. As far as gameplay goes, it's a regular first-person shooter. It's as generic as a first-person shooter can be. Same controls from Call of Duty, and there's like little to no recoil on your gun, and you're just gonna be, most of the gameplay is just aiming down the sight like this and then picking off enemies. All right, that's it. The game does feel at times too arcadey, in a sense that if they were to add a more realistic experience to it, it probably would have been better. To be honest, gameplay is probably where this game is really going to fall short of, because the gameplay just is boring and generic and is just okay. A couple segments are cool. You have this machine, this basically this huge little truck with turrets and missiles on it called the Goliath, right? And it's pretty cool. You pick it up. You pick up like this microscope, and you look through here and you target enemies, and the big truck, it's the big AI truck thing, will actually go in there and start shooting missiles at it. And it's pretty funny to see people like to see people like blow up, and it's a bit too expressed, I would say, because you throw a grenade right in the middle of people and they go flying. I mean, they go like flips, splat, and then jump up and flips and stuff like that. So it really is expressed a lot, but it's really hilarious when you just have like a group of 4 people, you throw a missile right into the middle of them, and then boom, and everyone scatters around like like this huge bomb just hit when it was just a missile. So it's kind of funny to see people flying around, and it looks like you're throwing stuffed animals in the air. That's exactly what it looks like. All right, so that is a cool machine though. I like that, and it's all AI control. You can stand from where you are. You just look through this little scope thing. You select the enemies that you want. All right. So yeah, the gameplay is just a regular first-person shooter, just generic and doesn't really add anything, which is kind of a shame because the game's story is really good. I really enjoyed this story. I mean, this is an original storyline written by the guy who did the movies Apocalypse Now and Red Dawn, and really just the guy really just wrote this story in a sense to make the player think, believe that he's very patriotic, because there's going to be some part of you in this game where you're going to be patriotic, especially if you're living in the United States. I care either less. I know it's a video game. It's not real. I don't care. I don't care if the freaking... I really don't care if, in the video game, a Taliban, come in and they start, shooting us in the United States. That isn't going to offend me in any way. But you can definitely tell they're going for that more mature setting and that very graphic setting that they want you to know, okay, these guys aren't fucking around. They're here, and they're here to kill, and they're here to take over, and if you disobey them, well, you better pray that you'll live. That's basically, what they're doing. So, the story's really good. The campaign's very short, which is kind of surprising to me. If the campaign was doubled at length, I have to say that this would have been a pretty awesome campaign. Maybe a little bit repetitive, because it does tend to get repetitive around the 2-hour mark, but if they would have mixed it up and put more variety in there and made it like an 8 to 10 hour campaign, it would have been something special. The campaign is 4 hours. 4 hours. So, $60, alright? If I'm paying $60 for a game, it should have at least, in my opinion, at least a 10-hour campaign and multiplayer, alright? This game has a 4-hour campaign with multiplayer. The multiplayer, you can check out my multiplayer gameplays, my playlist right there for, my thoughts on the multiplayer, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay $60 for a game that has a 4-hour campaign. It's not going to happen. Alright? Even though I did have some fun with the campaign, I did actually was enjoying my 4 hours of time I spent there, it just wasn't anything like, okay, this is just, I have to buy this now. Seeing gameplay, I got excited, and seeing the concept and the overall storyline, I got excited about the game when it came out. But when it came out, it turned out just to be another generic first-person shooter. So, that's that. So I think if you were to spend your money on it, you'd probably feel like it was a waste, because $60 for a 4-hour campaign, the multiplayer is fun, but again, if you're one of those people who still plays Call of Duty or Battlefield today, you're not going to say, I'm going to play this instead of Call of Duty or Battlefield. You're going to go back to those games anyway. Alright, so, yeah. Campaign is short. Frame rate, the frame rate's okay. It's like a 30 to 45 frames per second. There is frame rate drops, but I didn't experience a lot in my playthrough. Alright, but there is some frame rate drops, so that's that. I really like the sound design. Awesome music. It felt epic. It felt like, a movie. It felt like that awesome movie music. Really great soundtrack. I enjoyed it, and I hope to see more of stuff like that in the future games that THQ brings to us. So we talked about frame rate, sound design. Graphics are okay, standard graphics. Character models, they look fine. I mean, they just look fine. I mean, you're not going to look at them and say, wow, that guy looks really fake. Alright, it's nothing like that. They just look fine. Alright. Gameplay, generic first-person shooter gameplay. I would say about 5% variety in there. That's about it. Okay, you're not going to find lots of variety in here. You're not going to find lots of stuff. So, it's okay. Alright. And, multiplayer is pretty fun. If you want my full opinions on that, go check out the multiplayer gameplay playlist for, Homefront. So, that's the review for Homefront. Let me know what you guys think of this new review idea. It's definitely a lot easier for me to do. But I'm gonna, try and mix it up. Like, right now, this is just sort of like a quick one to see how you guys think, see what you guys think. But for the other reviews that are gonna be like this, I'm gonna put some gameplay in between. All right, so that's it. I'm gonna give Homefront. Considering the multiplayer was really fun and the campaign was okay, I'm gonna give Homefront a. That's kind of hard. Let's give it an 8 out of 10. All right, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. And yeah, I think it's a great rental. Alright, this is definitely a good weekend rental, but this isn't anything new or special. Don't go into this game thinking, alright, I'm going to have this excellent experience, and when I come out of it, I'm going to want to replay it and replay it and replay it again. That's not what you're going to find. Alright, you're going to find another generic first-person shooter. Alright, so that's the review. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and check out, subscribe and comments and stuff like that. So thanks.